think I know what's in this box. I should because, well, I ordered it. If you want to know what's inside, stick around. And if you stick around to the end, I'll show you how you can win a chance to win what's in this box. To help open this box, I'm going to use my trusty old Swiss Army knife. And by old, I mean really old. I got this the year I graduated from film school when I decided to drive across the country and find myself, that kind of thing. I was in my early 20s, and a photographer friend of mine said, "Hey, Scott, if you don't do it now, when are you going to do it?" And he was right. It was one of the best trips of my life. So if you're in your early 20s, you get a chance to travel across the country for a couple months, do it. Because if you don't do it now, when are you going to do it? Oh, it's getting exciting. Here it is. The big reveal. Some paper. There it is. The John August Craig Mazin book, Scriptnotes, a book about screenwriting and things that are interesting to screenwriters. I think I started listening to their podcast, Scriptnotes, in around 2012. Does that make sense? I think maybe it started in 2011. I might have started listening then. I don't know if it's the first podcast I ever listened to, but it's by far the most episodes I've ever listened to of any podcast has been Scriptnotes. I'm even an OG script noter. Is that what they're called?
Yeah, that's not a thing.
Where I have one of those little USB drives. If I find it, I'll show you there. I'm not sure how many times I've quoted them on my blog over the years, but it's a lot. Somehow their team condensed over 1,000 hours of discussions into this Scriptnotes book. And today I'm going to condense it into my 10 favorite parts of this book. And I know what you're wondering. You're wondering, Scott, how can you quote 10 parts of this book when you just got the book? Well, I may have just got the book. It came out last month, but I actually got the digital version the day it came out, and I bought the audio version. I listened to the whole audio version to write all these notes. So let's start. Number 10, coming in at number 10. Conflict is the engine of story, not a seasoning to be applied at the end. Here's what that looks like.
I'm not going to be ignored, Dad.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
That's meaningful conflict that's serving the story and revealing character. Later in the book, at page 266, is a quote from Seth Rogan that reiterates that. Without conflict, nothing is funny.
1, 2.
¿Cómo se llama? No, Kelly Clarkson!
Conflict. One of the early videos I did in this channel is on conflict. Okay, so number 9. Coming in at number 9 is this interview that they did with David Koepp. Do you remember this scene from Jurassic Park about the dino DNA?
Oh, Mr. DNA, where did you come from? From your blood. Just one drop of your blood contains billions of strands of DNA, the building blocks of life. A DNA strand, like me, is a blueprint for building a living thing.
Well, you can file this under Everything's a Remix. This is what David Koepp said about that scene. I would love to say that Mr. DNA was entirely my idea, but it wasn't. Steven Spielberg said, "They're in a theme park. Can't there be a little movie?" And one of us said, "What's there supposed to be, like an animated guy, like Mr. DNA?" It was actually inspired by the Hemo films that were shown in schools back in the 1950s.
Gravity pulls the blood downward into our legs, reduces the blood pressure in the brain. But the barostat instantly increases the heart rate to help build pressure back up to normal.
You mean just standing up on my hind legs makes my heart go faster?
Yeah, for a few seconds it does.
I don't believe it.
Number 8. Here's a great quote from Lulu Wang in the Scriptnotes book. I made a short film for $9,000. As I was on the festival tour with it, I met a producer for This American Life. He asked, "What other stories do you have?" And I pulled The Farewell out. You're just trying to get your story out there and find partners. That story eventually aired on the radio and eventually led to her connecting with the producer that eventually led to that film getting made. That reminds me of my favorite Goethe quote that's hundreds of years old, that in action there's power, grace, and magic. And on page 96 is my number 7 on my top 10 favorite things about this book, is a quote from Greta Gerwig. You have to believe in the thing before anyone else says it's good. And that's true of a screenwriter that has an idea that they want to develop. If you tell people, they'll often say, well, I don't know if that's a good idea. Or a producer that's looking at a script to develop. You have to make that decision before anyone else says it's good. So that's what Greta Gerwig is saying. You have to believe in the thing before anyone else says it's good. Number 6 comes from an interview that they did with McQuarrie, and he's talking about the differences between screenwriting and directing. McQuarrie says, screenwriting is pushing a rock up a hill. Directing is running downhill with the rock behind you. It's going to crush you if you don't run. Number 5 on my list of favorite things about this book comes from Craig and John themselves. Mysteries create open loops, unresolved itches of curiosity. They go on to say, confusion is mystery's annoying little brother. It doesn't generate curiosity, but rather annoyance. My interpretation of that are these setup and payoff scenes from Nightcrawler. The character Lou crawls out from under a van early one morning. We don't know what he just did. There's a certain curiosity of what he was doing under the van. If the filmmakers never paid that off, it would confuse viewers and would be annoying. But they do pay it off right away when we see that very van, his competitor's van, has crashed, causing serious injuries. By Lou messing with the brakes or something else that he did, caused his competitor's van to crash. Those 2 scenes back to back, that setup and payoff, reveal Lou's ruthlessness. The number 4 best thing about this book is found on page 251, an interview that they did with Eric Roth, where he said, I try to write a little off topic. The subtext is more important than the text. The best writing is not talking about what's going on. That's the thing I've had to learn over the years. And a good example of subtext is this scene from Juno.
Well, you should read the book. I flagged the daddy chapters.
I think it's too early to paint. That's my opinion.
I disagree.
The scene's really not about painting the walls. It's about one person wanting to have a baby and the other person not sure if they should adopt. And number 3 on the list is this quote from Aline Brosh McKenna. It's not just the best writers who work, but those who are resilient. And I'm going to add to this, I'm going to call it 3A. It's a quote from Craig Mazin that he did with The Moment with Brian Koppelman. He said, I've always felt that if you put me in front of 10 feet of concrete and said, walk through it, I'd get through it. I believe it. I really do. It's just a question of pushing yourself hard enough through rock. I've never felt like anything could stop me if I really tried. That's Craig Mazin, who was on his way at that point to winning his first Emmy for writing Chernobyl. Number 2 on the list is from chapter 15, The End. This is for those of you who have several ideas and you're not sure which one to write. This is attributed to Craig. Pick the one with the best ending, because that's the one you'll actually finish. And my number 1 quote from this book is this. The screenwriting life is an endless hustle. Let's be honest, the numbers are against you. There are very few jobs and many people who want them. So they point out that there's no clear path, no security. Not many people have long careers in this. But to end on a positive note, in the next chapter titled Patterns of Success, John August and Craig Mazin make this observation. When we look at writers who break out, they invariably have something special on the page. For example, Diablo Cody's scripts for Juno and Jennifer's Body feel unique and specific. She has a point of view and a particular tone on the page.
I think the first one was defective. The plus sign looks more like a division symbol, so I remain unconvinced.
3rd test today, Mama Bear. Your ego is prego. No doubt about it.
Speaking of Diablo Cody, in the printed version of her screenplay Juno, which she happened to write when she was living in the suburbs of Minneapolis, she wrote this. Here's my unsolicited advice to any aspiring screenwriters who might be reading this. Don't ever agonize about the hordes of other writers who are ostensibly your competition. No one is capable of doing what you do. Sure, read the books and blogs on screenwriting and filmmaking, listen to podcasts, study movies and TV shows, but most importantly, create more than you consume. That's where your voice will come out. Now, in the tradition of the Scriptnotes podcast, my one cool thing is the Scriptnotes book. I'll give this copy to the person that writes a comment below that I think best adds value to one of the 10 highlights I talked about in the Scriptnotes book. Now, for legal reasons, I'm told that I have to say that the winner must be 18 years or older, and this giveaway is not related to YouTube. And I'll announce the winner in a pinned comment on Valentine's Day 2026.